Ayo, what's good, guys? Welcome to the Intentional Conversations podcast, where we talk about life, faith, creativity, and everything in between. My name is Marvin Kimani, and what's good, bro?
What it do, what it does, what is good?
What is up? Guys, so we got an interesting topic today, bro. We're gonna get straight into it, bro.
Let's get straight into it.
So, guys, if you don't know, Lux dropped a fire album recently, and
I hope you listened to it. You never gave me a single review.
Wait, bro, wait. Can I do this intro?
He did listen to the album.
It was a fire album. It was a fire album. And he also celebrated 10 years, just trying to do this music thing. And I was thinking, that's such a milestone, doing both those things. And so I'm trying to figure out what you've learned in your journey. It's 10 years is a long time, bro. I know. I spoke to you once and you were like, nah, there's people who's done it, but 10 years is a long time. Some of us give up, some of us,
Yeah.
So we're trying to see what God has taught you or lessons we can learn, God lessons, and things that you've learned that we can apply, in our pursuits and stuff,
Yeah, and some creative lessons as well. Because I find that nothing happens in a silos. Everything happens kind of together. And so I think there is a thing where we just fail to connect all the dots. You know? So for an example, I think a small thing is if you are physically healthy, it's easier to be mentally healthy. You know what I'm saying?
He's already dropping the bars.
Or spiritually healthy.
Wait,
so
bro,
all the stuff is kind of all connected, So I don't but it's we do need to try figure out a way of looking at everything holistically. But what's your favorite song?
Hey, bro, wait.
What's the favorite song on the album?
Man, favorite song. I haven't
listened.
Of course, I've listened to the album, bro. Favorite song.
Sure.
Favorite song. What's the one with I don't know what's her name.
Lily Million?
Wait, not Lily. JK's daughter.
That's the one. Ladies and gentlemen, this is Marvin who hasn't listened to my album properly.
I've listened to the album. I just can't remember the song titles. Tell me it's pretty dope, but I like this one.
It's a bit too controversial for you.
Yo, bro, there's so much. I don't think it's controversial. I think there's so much to talk about in there. But bro, 10 years, né? In a culture where we want everything like this, bro. I want to start recording today and have my hit tomorrow, which is possible, by the way. I've seen people do it, right? Yeah. Talk to us about what you've learned about hard work and patience. I think giving up when you've done 5 years, it's so easy, bro. But 5 years sounds like a lot, but is it? I don't know.
Yeah, I remember sitting. The good friend of ours, Jared. And I was like,
shout out to Jay.
I was like, Jay, let's give this thing 5 years and let's see. Already at that time I'd put in probably a good, I don't know how many years, but I was like, okay, cool. By the time I'm 20, what, I don't remember when I did it, We need to have to see if this thing is viable, if this thing is bringing in some profit, I think because at that time we were working very, very hard. We were working extremely hard. We were doing everything ourselves at that time, from videos to graphic design, doing shows, doing stuff. And we were really passionate, but we did see that, hey, this thing's not bringing in money, so it's not going to be sustainable enough. So we did kind of say, okay, let's give this thing up until this age or up until this time, and then we do it. But the more I did it, the more I realized that I think that this is actually part of my journey and part of my story, when we celebrated 5 years as Legacy, it was a big thing for me personally, because I was like, wow, we've been together for 5 years. For me, that was a better milestone than me making music for 10 years. We've done so much, and what we've done as Legacy as a whole isn't because of one individual person. There's multiple milestones that we've reached as a movement and as a team, and so I felt for me that was a big milestone. But I do guess I do think the conviction is kind of still there that I think us chasing our dreams and doing what we want to do isn't just about the dreams, but also is about our character and how we get developed into the people that God is calling us to be. And so me not giving up is part of my character development, you know.
Yeah. You're touching on something really interesting, bro. Because I think your first EP, Resilient.
Yeah.
Bro, that I think we didn't know each other back then. Well, that's how we met. Like it was Resilient was the thing.
You were doing like a review on it. You were doing like a review on my little EP. Yeah, I remember.
So already
that's how I met you though. I remember we had breakfast in town or something.
Yeah. So like that resilience, a lot of people don't have it, bro. It's hard because like right now, again, like we're being programmed, you know, like quick, instant fame and stuff. So tell me about like vision and like how important that was to you being resilient, right? Because you're talking about you and Jay kind of like being like, 5 years, we want to be here. The importance of that, because it's something I've been thinking about, purpose, you know. And I think Simon Sinek always talks about the big why. And talk a bit about that.
Dude, I have thought about it.
Yeah.
I have thought about it. Yeah. And I've thought about it purely because people have always speak about it. So they always say like, wow, you like so resilient and so like you've just pushed through, you know.
Yeah.
And I pushed through because nobody believed in me, you know what I'm saying?
Sure.
So it was like that kind of underdog status, you know, that kind of thing that no one believed in you. And so
Dude, you are underdog. That's so crazy.
I was like, no one believed. I mean, I remember buying my first studio probably 8 years ago, which is actually still the studio we still use now, ironically. But when I was buying that studio, people were laughing at me.
Sure.
They were like, what? Why are you wasting your money?
Sure.
Why don't you just go record with someone else? But I think I had this glimpse of like, I want to own and I want to be able to do it myself.
Yeah.
And figure out a way of doing it. But also because I knew that I wasn't the best.
Yeah.
At making music.
Yeah.
I wasn't the best rapper. I wasn't the best songwriter. And so I needed to put in the time and the effort for me, you know, to do it. So I went through this kind of period of wanting to prove people wrong.
Yeah.
To then having a Godward view towards my gifting of actually, if I'm living for people's kind of, like Cray says, if you live for people's acceptance, you'll die from their rejection.
Yeah.
So then I had to then realize, people didn't like me and me being the underdog and no one really believing in me. And now everyone is. That shouldn't faze me. So I went to a place and a point where no compliment got to me.
Yeah.
I had this metaphor in my head of if someone gives me a compliment, I take it and I put it in my back pocket and I never look at it. So most of the times I wouldn't really take compliments as seriously because I was trying to protect my head and my heart towards what I think God was calling me to. So those are kind of like the small coping mechanisms I kind of did, but I think I developed like a hard work and resilience and passion a lot more over the years because now I was realizing that if we're going to impact South Africa, we have to do it as a team.
Yeah.
So then I went from being me and Lux Kent to then being like, we need a team. And I wasn't trying to build legacy for what it is now. I was just trying to say, if we combine like-minded individuals and people and figure out a way forward of working together to push, you know. So then when that happened, I had to up my passion and my resilience a lot more because now I'm kind of setting the tone. And so for that to happen, so for an example, we were with our band. So with our band, for an example, they were helping us and assisting us. I need to do stuff in a way that encourages them to do that. So in one sense, how that happens is that then we have to have the best graphics we can, something that they're proud of. We don't have the money, but we've got something that shows progress, our videos or how we go from our shows. You know, we try get a better venue because, you know what I'm saying? So small things like that add, because I realized that we wanted to build a team. And so I have to push a lot more bigger, which unfortunately made me a lot more critical. But I guess maybe that's why we've been able to kind of hang on for so long.
10 years, fam. You know, and I think you just talking on purpose again, bro. Like I think your big view of like the end goal, bro.
Yeah.
I feel like that somehow was so it is so real, because I think I've appreciated how you look at stuff, and was so real that it pushed you through it, right? And do you feel like that grew in you as you're going? It wasn't like, oh, now I have it, now I'm gonna go, or it's like as you're building this team, as you guys celebrating different milestones, your purpose grows for why you're doing what you're doing.
Yeah, I think hip hop gave me an edge because it made me study culture, figure out what people like, what people don't like, and figure out a way of doing what we do.
Yeah,
I think hip hop gave me that edge where I kind of was on the front row seat of culture. So I just want to know what's happening in the culture, you know, who's dropping what album, what videos, what's trending on like Twitter or Netflix.
Yeah.
Purely because I'm trying to figure out a way of we are not just making music for the sake of making music. We're making music as a way of architecting culture, or maybe redeeming culture. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So that it's something that will disciple people and help people, encourage people in some shape, format, or way. So I think hip hop kind of gave me that edge.
Yeah.
You know, that I think maybe some people didn't who were thinking about this stuff, but hip hop kind of gave me that edge that helped me. But I'm still very fascinated in how art can help bridge gaps.
Yeah.
Socioeconomic, class, race, gender. Art has the ability to do that. Art has the ability to spark hope and a mission in people. Art has a way of encouraging people and strengthening people. And I had always been like, hey, like God has made me like I'm a creative, you know? I'm not like a full-blown creative. There's much better creatives out there. But my natural instinct is to be a creative.
And so blessed with creativity.
Yeah, like so I'm like creative, I guess, in some shape, form, or way. But imagine we didn't wait for money to come and we used what little stuff we had to architect and to build the way that we're feeling led to build. You know what I'm saying? So the music came out of that. So like Gruth and Jay can tell you multiple stories. Like our stuff sounded bad and it looked bad. But we kind of had this thing that like this is still gonna help people. You know? And so now I think now we're thinking about it a bit more differently. But what's kind of burning in my heart at the moment is, how do we use art as a way of allowing people to have conversations, because we live in such a polarized world? And then the second thing is, how do we use art as a way to speak prophetically into people's lives and hearts? So what I've taken as a step is that I want my art to be encouraging but also prophetic. I want to say what Marv thinks and says to me, but can't say out publicly. Because I think that's what music does.
It speaks to us.
It speaks to us. But if we lack our prophetic imagination, if we lack the courage and the resilience to speak prophetically in what's happening, I think we then get into like political stuff, you know, like, oh, you're Christian, but not Christian enough. You know, you this or you that, you know, then we start getting sucked into conversations I think we shouldn't be getting sucked into, but we need to be like speaking into culture that allows people to have conversations, but also prophetically just imagine. Hence I think, you know, this, I love the fact that people hate my album. I love it.
Hate your album. That's a strong word,
it's
bro.
Just
One song.
But it makes them not listen to it again.
Tell me, maybe, why do you think that one song, it's not in my questions, but like, why do you think that one song kind of rubs some people off them? Because some people, bro.
I know it is some people, and it's not a lot of people, but I think songs like that are saying what people are thinking. And I mean, I always go back and forth when I was making the song, like, is this going to be helpful? Is it going to tear people apart? Is it not? But I think because of that, so when someone hears something that they hate. Hey guys, we're back. Sorry, we had some technical stuff. We are learning. We're getting into this podcasting game. I was just basically saying, Marv, when you listen to anything, you want to listen to something that you already know or something that you affirm. So when it's something that you don't agree with, you immediately shut out because it reminds you of something. There's a negative reaction in you. So it's like when someone says something that you don't consider truth, it does something in you. Your posture changes, your heart changes. And even if they say stuff that you agree with, you just still stuck on that thing that makes you comfortable because there's so much history to that. So when you speak about issues of like race or justice or whatever in South Africa, that's what generally happens with people, you know, and black and white. So it isn't just like, oh, you know, those people hate it. No, black and white, because we all have different lived experiences and lived realities. You know what I'm saying? So, but I still think that as like the creative's job is to reflect the times, to speak about the times, and to speak prophetically, you know. And I'm very happy that we are able to do that. That we are not cloned, you know.
Disturb the comfortable and comfort the disturbed. I think that's the bar.
Look at that. Say that again.
Wait, bro. I think it's disturb the comfortable
and comfort the disturbed. Come on, bro.
And I think it's partly, I think it's for the gospel, but I think it applies here too. I think as an artist, you have to kind of like, you know. Yeah, bro. But I think, do you feel like the times right now, people are very touchy and like, yo, bro, like we all have opinions, and so you touch something and it's like, whoa, I have to react.
I mean, some people don't like my album because I spoke about relationships, you know. So like they just which is fine, you know. And I'm very happy that people have their own opinions about stuff, but like everyone is expecting something, you know, and we only go to something that will give us exactly what we want, how we want it to be. And so, which is very hard with our space because we don't have like 1 million fans and all of that stuff. So even the little fans we have, we want to keep. Which makes it very hard now because that means we just have to think strategically around some of that stuff. But then I'm also just aware that people want to hear what they want to hear.
So as a creative, it's harder. Like it makes your work harder because you want to reach people, but
we're not like getting money from anything else, you know. So it is very hard. I don't think people are touchy and all of that stuff. I wouldn't put like that sort of blanket statement, but I do think every single human being is wants their own thoughts and views to be affirmed, and when it isn't affirmed, we shut out. We don't know. We struggle with tensions. And we struggle to listen to people that we disagree with, because there's usually so much hurt there, so much disappointment, there's so much stuff that we haven't dealt with, so it makes it hard for us to deal with tensions. I guess I'm working through that stuff as well.
Social media
is social media is also very polarized, you know. You're either on this side or that side. If you don't speak about this, then you for that. If you know what I'm saying, it's very unhealthy.
Bro, early on in the conversation, you were saying how you were underdog, which is crazy for me to hear this, right? Like, I think I know, you know, your journey 10 years deep or something close, you know. So think about yourself back then, right? So you maybe insecurities because, you know, the people are saying you're not good, or you thinking you're not good at this thing. I'm assuming these fears, you know, talk to that person, you know, who feels like, yo, I can do this, you know, but right now where they are, they're in that place, you know. How would you talk to that person, you know? They want to do this thing, but they're not good, or they think they're not good, and people are maybe like just discouraging them. How do you go past that, bro? How do you?
Yeah, man, jeez. I don't know how to deal with that. I can only look at my own journey and just be like how I dealt with it. And I'm very happy that God's just been super gracious with me. You know, just to be able to deal with all that stuff. I do think like you must deal with the insecurity, you know, and it's never dealt with. You consistently deal with it.
It's a journey.
Because it's not to say that I was very insecure. You know, I still am. And it's just a journey. I think I've just gotten maybe better at hiding it, but also maybe I think I know it now and I call it for what it is. So it's able for me to see it and to see the monster that it is. I would say deal with that, because what anything does is that then you start, the praise gets to you, or the views get to you, or the numbers get to you, and you don't ever want that to happen, you know? And so if you don't deal with all that internal stuff and that hurt, that disappointment, or sometimes that trauma, you want to be validated by something or someone else, but that is never enough, you know? So like there was a time when a specific person's yes and appraisal or approvement of you was the thing. But now it isn't, because you want someone who's better and more acclaimed, you know? So you're always
Chasing.
searching and wanting for more. I would say I was looking at what I was looking at what I wrote on my fan page, if I call it that, like my Facebook page. And I wrote 3 things there that I really wanted to define me. Yeah. I wrote humility, maturity, and legacy. Those are 3 things that I wanted to define me as Luxolo. 3 things I wanted to define me as Lux Kent as an artist: humility, maturity, and legacy. And I still struggle with all of that stuff, but at least like I was aware that I need to be humble, serve other people, and I need to be mature, you know, which is wisdom. Yeah.
Sidebar, bro. Why do you think the humility part is important? Why did you put humility there? I think that's very interesting, especially coming and I don't know. It's probably like that in the corporate and like, you know, but it's hard for coming from hip hop, coming in the space to be like humility. Like, you know what I'm saying? No, you want to out here be like, yo, I'm the guy,
right?
I'm the dude. Like, yo, you know. So why did you put that there as a thing?
I think humility shuns a lot of your insecurities. You know.
Yeah.
But I think that humility has to be rooted in something. You know, and thankfully for me, that humility was rooted in Jesus.
Hey, preach, brother.
So it wasn't like, you can give fake humble, all that other stuff, you know, that I didn't know. But for me, I was like, I want to, I want to not just my character to be humble, but all my plans. Like, I'm going to be giving these things to God and like, do what you got to do with it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Or if like Marvin likes me and doesn't like me tomorrow, it's okay. Like, I have to be humble towards that, not hold grudges and hatred towards people, not hold my views too highly than what they should be.
Sure.
So it worked itself out in those different ways, that like humble is just not like my character, but it's really my heart's posture. You know, wanting to not bend my will towards God, but for my heart to be bent towards God, and how that then reflects in how I do my music. So it was like, I want to work very hard in remembering people's names. I worked very hard to meet people after shows and speak to people, engage, you know, take people out for a coffee or for a chat afterwards. That was just something I was working towards, because I knew all that stuff can get to my head. Because now I remember, I'm like 17, 18, and like I'm performing everywhere, and like there's so much like cool stuff happening. And remember, a lot of my friends are not like saved or Christians or doing all this stuff. So now people's parents are looking at me as the standard, right?
Sure.
So there's all this like guy. All the stuff. Yeah, it's like I'm the guy, right? Like I'm the guy, you know, old people are like liking me and respecting me and whatever, you know. And so that stuff can get to you. That stuff can get to you, because that's what I wanted, right? I was insecure. I didn't believe in myself. Now there's people that believe in me and they're shooting my horn.
Yes.
That stuff can eat you alive slowly but surely. Hence, I would say, like, I would take all of their compliments and say thank you, and then put it kind of in my back.
In
my back pocket.
Yo, bro, you're very wise, I must say. Like, at that age, bro, at that age, I was trying to be the guy. You couldn't tell me nothing, bro.
It was a product, I think, of multiple things. I think trauma as a young child.
Sure.
And family, man. Family structure.
Dope.
My parents were phenomenal. They weren't perfect, but they were phenomenal in helping me think and process. We'd speak about everything with my family. So that, I think, helped me to think out the box. And trauma and family, other stuff, you know, but family structure really does help in someone's development. I look at it now and I'm saying, actually, that wasn't all me. That was really God's grace through my family and my parents.
Word, man. Word. As we close, bro, like, just thinking of your journey, and like now you got this album out, 10 years deep, a whole album, fire album is getting some people worked up and all this, right? Talk about a bit about like relationships and what you've learned about that, because I feel like the album is a group project. Living Legacy, is a group project. A lot of the stuff that you've accomplished, you've had to work with people and you've had to manage people, you know. Maybe talk about the importance maybe of that, and maybe some things that you've learned in that journey and in that process of maybe making the album.
Yeah. So I think one thing I learned from a very kind of young age in my development is so I was a naughty boy before I became a Christian. You know,
really?
let's try Christianize it this a little bit. Speak about Jesus. Bro. I still am extremely naughty, but I was very naughty then. And I don't know who it was, but I think it was one of my teachers said to me, you know that you've got a lot of influence, got a lot of leadership in you.
Sure.
You're just using it the wrong way.
Oh, wow.
That seed was so planted in me that, hey, like, actually, when I'm acting the fool in class, everyone else acts the fool, right? When I say something's whack, everyone like kind of like leans to it, or at least people listen to what I have to say. You know what I'm saying? And it wasn't just like it was those people, like everyone in my class, and we kind of had every kind of social demographic in my class, and it was mostly white my class, but and even those, it was like very different, but people would listen, you know, and so, but it took that one teacher of mine to say that I got leadership in me and influence.
Dope.
To then when I became a Christian, I started to be like, hey, imagine I used everything I have for the glory of God. And so this teacher of mine took me during school time to like this leadership. He took me to leadership conferences.
Wow.
You know? So
shout out to that teacher.
Shout out to it's Mr. Daniels, by the way. Hopefully he gets to hear this. But there were other teachers involved. But he did that, and I remember once he took me to Steers. It was like the biggest thing. Yeah. Now you imagine, like I didn't really like my teachers. Sure. And they were all white anyway. So it's like I didn't really care. But this one teacher, I remember he took me out once. It was only once. I wish it was more, but he took me out once just to chat. How are you?
Oh wow.
It was, I was like,
mind-blowing.
This is how a leader is. And this wasn't just my teacher, this was my deputy principal.
Wow.
It's just, how are you? And he bought me like ice cream or something. I don't know what it was. But that small gesture showed me something, and I tried to look at his life and how he did things. Because that was kind of like an example of me, of leadership and managing and running a school. So I really started to just invest in my personal and leadership and read books and listen to stuff, from South Sudan High School. And when I was really involved in the music, I then realized that for me to succeed, I need the right people on the boat. I was obviously studying a lot of stuff that was happening. I was looking at other artists, and I was wondering, hey, teamwork really does make
the dream work.
You know what I'm saying? And so I need to kind of invest and learn and figure out a way to do it. You know, how do I build a team, being so young with limited staff, and how do I keep the team? How do I hold my team loosely? I'm not the only one to do this thing. So that's one thing that's happened. You know, for me with this album, I celebrated so much because it was really a teamwork. It was a very hard project to do. The producers, Mayola is in Mayola Trades. Shout out to Trades. He is in the UK doing his masters, so he's extremely busy. And my second producer, which is HK, he's in matric, so he's doing his grade 12 and he's producing my album. So time is very limited. So everything just took so much time. And there's obviously JK, who runs a kind of music business thing. And he also took his time. So every song just took forever. But the biggest thing I celebrate around it is the fact that I can go back to it and say, for me personally, besides all the stats and all the stuff, the fact that like my relationships were not tainted. You know, I didn't frustration. And I thank God for that, because it was not just me. It's actually like the fact that those human beings were able to understand, because creatives are very touchy. You know,
bro.
So you do something and I say no, you feel some type of way, especially when it goes to the next song. You know, and now we're doing like 8 songs together, and everyone is involved in all of those 8 songs. So, but for me, like the biggest thing I celebrate with like stuff is the fact that like we still keep the brotherhood. You know, we still keep the relationships. Those are still intact, and we just haven't done an album. because it could have been easier for me just to be like, yeah, this is taking too long. Let me just like jump ship to other people.
Yeah.
But I personally celebrate the fact that we were doing this thing together. And so it actually feels like a group thing, because they'd say to me, hey, that verse is whack. Can you do something with it? You know, say, I don't think you should be doing that. Could you do that? And I'm like, how can those people, think that type of stuff? But for me personally, I celebrate those small wins, because I think those will define my story 10, 15, 20 years from now, and not this album. Yeah. People don't forget this album. Yeah. But the relationships I have with my friends and the producers on there, like, I treasure that more than the actual product and the stuff that we do. So
that's dope, man.
That's a big milestone for me.
Yeah, I think I've learned a lot about like relationships just watching you navigate. I think it speaks to legacy, and I think you
currency.
Always, exactly.
That's our currency.
Yeah. And I think for me, it's kind of broadened my thought, and I think it's also you value people. That's where it starts. Like you have to value like that one person.
And difference.
Difference
of opinion.
Yeah, bro.
How do you work with people? The hardest thing is like having people with different opinion and different ways of doing stuff, but you have to get the thing done.
Yeah. Bro. Dude. And I think even like, like for me as a Christian, like it's easy to work with Christians, right? It's easy to work with people who think or believe.
Yeah.
But what I've learned, like just watching you navigate, it's like, actually you can still build those bridges across people who don't believe in the same thing
and see the way that you see it.
Exactly, right? And still work towards a common goal, bro, it's been good.
The thing is, Marv, is I understand all of that stuff, but the thing is that all that stuff reveals you and your maturity or where you are at. So what actually happens is that people will always be people, but they reveal what is in you as the individual. You know what I'm saying? So how I navigate issues is always an opportunity for me to investigate where I'm at and where my heart is at. And so I find that actually people reveal something. So let's say you are driving, and the person just makes like the worst turn. And
cuts you off.
And cuts you off. And you were like in a hurry. What's your natural reaction at times?
Yo, bro.
You're either gonna like
that horn,
or like you're gonna start saying stuff that you don't normally say. But that time is an opportunity to see where you're actually at.
Fact.
Yeah, but it reveals. You're either gonna like swear at them, or you're gonna find a way to deal with it in a healthy and a good way. Or you're just gonna like get out your car and like
and lose it.
And so people will always be people, and situations will always be situations. But it does offer us an opportunity to look at our hearts, our minds, and our character, and find a way of growing at it. And so I think that's why, like, working with people is just so hard, but it's got such good and beneficial ways of like doing stuff, because it offers you an opportunity to grow. And I think the art, bro, that's what art has taught me. I cannot get, even if I don't get all the awards and stuff doesn't work out, but one thing I know that it's done is that it's shaped my character in ways that nothing else has.
Facts.
You know what I'm saying?
Totally.
I'm not married and all that stuff, so maybe that'll bring its own phase. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Anyway, so
dope, man.
It's like a cool reflection, I'd say.
Sure. Dope, man. I think there's a lot we could speak on. Like I think we could even go into community and stuff. But for the purpose of this podcast, bro, thank you for sharing. You've been watching Intentional Conversations, with Marvin and Luxolo. Let me get that click.
Jeez!
That click.
Do you wanna just call me Luxolo?
Yeah, bro. Or do you go? Or was that Lux? Or was I talking to Lux Kent? Listen,
I remember when I told everybody to call me Luxolo, you were like,
why?
It's for those people. And I was like, who's those people, Marv?
But bro, I was just escaping the X. But now I think I got it. Yeah. Thank you for watching. Man. See you guys next time.
Blessings. Hey guys, thank you so much for listening to this podcast or watching it. hey, why don't you please help us create content that inspires people to live a life outside of themselves? I would love for you to, would you consider just being a partner with us on Patreon, where you will get exclusive content and you might just get, the content before everyone else gets it. Also, hey, why don't you just quickly subscribe to our YouTube page and so that you can, see everything first. Love you guys. Thank you. Thank you so much.